Holy City Center Radio is episode 116, and I am your host, Christian Sanger. Today is Monday, May 1st, 2023. Holy crap, it is May. It was weird to say. I can't believe we're already in May. I'm sure I've said stuff like this over a couple years of doing this podcast. Oh, I can't believe it's this. I can't believe, but honestly, I know it's cliche and feels like we say it all the time. But time really is going by quickly this year. You know, for some reason realizing, wow, it's May. We're like basically in the summer months now here in South Carolina. We've had some pretty hot days, mixed with some rain this weekend. But yeah, we're really like all of a sudden you're like, oh man, it's gonna be June, July, August here before long. And yeah, just for whatever reason that feels more significant to me than, when January and February rolled by pretty quickly. It just seems like, whoa, I blinked and it's May. Crazy. May, by the way, is I don't know if it's national, international, whatever, but it's Mental Health Awareness Month. I don't have anything specific to talk about with that, but just noting it. I'll be sharing things as I usually do about mental health on Twitter, Facebook, and what have you. If there is any events or anything related to it, I'll be sure to pass those along as well. And maybe at some point this month, it'll come up as a topic on the show. We shall see. But if you're looking to learn a little bit more, lots of resources are out there. I encourage you to look into it, especially any mental health conditions that you're not familiar with. Anyone who hasn't suffered from one or doesn't know anyone that has some sort of mental health issue. There may be a lot of there are a lot of misconceptions out there about mental health and certain things that people go through. I encourage you to look into it. There are some local organizations as well as plenty of national organizations that you can donate to help out as well. And like I said, throughout the month, I'll be sharing those resources. But yeah, just keep it in mind and take care of your mind. All right, let's move into the topics. Had a pretty quiet weekend, nothing really to share with you. So let's just get into it. South Carolina senators rejected a bill that would have banned nearly all abortions here in the state. It was a close vote, but it was 22 to 21. The vote that happened on Thursday, it marks the third time that a near abortion ban has failed in this Republican-led chamber since the U.S. Supreme Court reversed Roe v. Wade last summer. They keep trying, and they keep getting thwarted back, in no small part thanks to the 5 women who serve in the state Senate. We'll talk about them more in a moment. But they weren't alone, because women are across different parties. 6 total Republicans helped block motions to end debate and defeated any chance that the bill passes this year. So thank you to those 6 Republicans who crossed party lines and did the right thing. The chamber's 5 women who I mentioned before, there's only 5 of them in our state Senate, which is a whole other thing. But yes, only 5 women serve as state senators. And all 5 of them, despite the fact they came from different parties, they partnered together and helped filibuster the proposal in speeches. They highlighted the Senate's male majority that they criticized for pushing debates on abortion over other pressing issues. One of those is Republican Senator Penry Gustafson. She spent over 30 minutes this past Wednesday detailing the bodily changes throughout every stage of pregnancy. She said she spoke so long because the millions of women addressed in the bill had not been heard from. She emphasized that she has a pro-life position, but said the proposal left no room for empathy, reality, or graciousness. Well said, Senator Gustafson. The bill would have banned abortion at conception, not even the 6-week ban or the heartbeat bill, the so-called heartbeat bill, bans that they try to do in the past. This is at conception. The only exceptions would have been for rape or incest, but only through the first trimester. Fatal fetal anomalies confirmed by 2 physicians also would have been acceptable. That's right, 2 separate physicians. And to save the patient's life or health was also one of the exceptions. Again, first trimester for rape or incest. The others, as they came up, of course, because fatal fetal anomalies may come up later than that first trimester. And then obviously to save the patient's health or life, meaning the pregnant person's life, that can come up later as well. But basically, this was a ban at conception. So those women who deserve to be highlighted, Again, crossing party lines, three of them were Republicans. That is Senator Gustafson, who I mentioned before, Senator Sandy Sen, Senator Katrina Shealy. Independent, formerly Democratic Senator Mia McLeod was also one of the women involved. And finally, Democratic Senator Marjorie Bright Matthews. Those five women, with help, again, yes, six total Republicans, but these three Republican women, an independent woman, and a Democrat woman, prevented this from moving forward this year and stopped the abortion bill. If you are someone who is pro-choice and believes that they did the right thing, even if they are not your party of choice, be sure to reach out to them and tell them thank you. We do not thank politicians from the parties we don't like when they do the right thing and listen to their constituents. We don't do it enough. They deserve it. They went above and beyond. All five women, incredible job preventing that from going forward. Meanwhile, a South Carolina House of Representatives subcommittee voted 2-1 on April 27th to basically punt a bill that would allow the state's urban and tourism dependent counties to hold referendums to legalize Sunday retail liquor sales. I found this interesting because I know, number one, Charleston and drinking is a huge thing, and people sometimes, whether they're visiting or what have you, are surprised to learn that there's no liquor sales on Sundays. I found that interesting. Number one, I know people are interested because they would like liquor stores to be open on Sunday. But I found it interesting that the mom and pop stores were the ones that were really against this proposal, which I just wouldn't have thought. So I found that pretty interesting. And so here's why. So, some of you might, like me, may have assumed that these businesses, yeah, of course we want to be open on Sundays. That's another day to sell our, the products we have in stock. People are going to the beach on Sunday. It's still the weekend. Who knows? Sometimes people just want to purchase on a Sunday for whatever reason. So you would think, hey, more sales, this is great. And certainly you could think that the people who would be against this bill, this is an old law. If I remember correctly, in my home state, which is in the Northeast, also for a long time, I think it's since been reversed, but they called them blue laws. I'm assuming they're called the same down here, where there was no alcohol sales on Sunday. Now, again, I believe that has since changed. And here in South Carolina, you can, buy beer. Of course, you can go to a bar and all that stuff, but you couldn't purchase liquor from like a liquor store. So you would assume it's a lot of like those conservative folks. It's the Bible Belt. They'd be the ones pushing back on allowing sales on Sunday. And sure, there are some of them. But really, like I said, it was the mom and pop liquor stores that really may have made the difference here. So it's counterintuitive, you would think. But small retailers say that they fear that expanding their hours to Sunday would drive up their operating costs without a corresponding increase in revenues. David Osborne, who is the owner of three liquor stores in Charleston, spoke about this. You can, in the show notes, it's a Post and Courier article that this is coming from. And he's told them that he's frequently in his shops on Sundays to do things like restock or renovations, cleanup, whatever it may be. And he claimed that he could count on one hand the number of times he's had to turn away tourists who, showed up thinking he was open. So it didn't seem like there was a ton of business, as far as tourism is concerned. If this had passed, despite the fact they say it would hurt their business more than help it to be open on Sundays, mom and pop shops said they'd be forced to be open because they could lose customers to like the big box retailers, your Total Wines, etc. And then that would end up, they'd be spending more on wages and utilities without an increase in revenues to make up for it. Osborne argued that alcohol sales will not go up by much. It'll just be spread out over 7 days rather than 6. So again, I thought you all would be interested for maybe both reasons. Like, again, some people are like, oh, I wish I could buy liquor on Sundays. While some of you might have been interested, like I was, to realize that, oh, it's actually the mom and pop shops who you think would be excited about this, another day of business, yes, more revenue, are actually saying, no, that's not really going to be the case for us. This would actually hurt us more than anything. So assuming that would be the case, and I have no reason to doubt them. They're the ones in the business crunching the numbers and working these things out. I'm glad that at least for this year, this bill has been, as the Post and Courier worded it, punted, basically meaning like, we're not gonna move this forward. It's not completely dead. It could come up in the future or different versions of it, but I'm happy that something that could potentially hurt mom and pop shops when they're already struggling. And I don't mean just in this industry and many. I'm glad that they don't have to worry about any more struggles. Current town of Mount Pleasant councilman and former police chief Carl Ritchie announced on Thursday that he is running for sheriff of Charleston County, a position currently held by Kristen Graziano, who defeated the incumbent Al Cannon when she took over that post in 2020. Ritchie's law enforcement career in the county has spanned more than 3 decades, and he said some of his priorities would include keeping violent offenders off the streets, limiting the flow of fentanyl into the community, and addressing ongoing mental health crises. So far, although it's possible I may have missed it, but I believe Ritchie is the first person to announce that he will be challenging Graziano in the next election. And finally, some local sports news. The South Carolina Stingrays unfortunately lost to the Florida Everblades by a final score of 4-0 on Saturday night. That took place at Hertz Arena in Florida. With that loss, the Stingrays now trail the series 3-2. So if Florida wins one more game, it is over. But on the plus side, the Stingrays are coming home Monday, tonight. It's a must-win game, and they will be at the North Charleston Coliseum. They're going to need you all there to be loud. Tickets are available. If they win, they will force a decisive Game 7. That game will also be here in the Low Country at the North Charleston Coliseum. I'll be sure to keep you all posted for more up-to-date information. For instance, on Monday night, say after the game, or Tuesday morning, be sure to look at my Twitter and Facebook. I'll be sure to share what happened at the game. But yeah, if you can make it out, besides the fact they're going to need you backing them up and hoping to continue what's been a really good season for them, actually. They also, it's a heck of a lot of fun to go to the Coliseum and see, some live hockey in action. And the Stingrays have had many, many good years in a row now. And hopefully they can battle back and win this series and continue what's been a good season for them. Thank you so much for listening. Always a blast to do these shows. Looking forward to what's ahead. Slowly but surely, I promise you, we will get back into interviews and making sure, I set aside time to do that. That's the big thing. I'm so busy all the time. I just need to be like, nope, today's the day. We're going to sit down and figure out X, Y, and Z. There's a few things related to the podcast, including getting interviews back that I need to just sit down and do. So hopefully I can knock out the rest of the Holy City Center work as well as other things I need to do, and we'll get that going again here shortly. I know people miss some of those, miss hearing interviews, and I also miss being able to bring them all to you, but working towards it, I assure you. Also, I tease new merchandise. There are two new actually pieces of Holy City Center merchandise that you can now get. Neither are up on the shop quite yet, but they will be. Just some silly things. The first one is matches. That's right. The Holy City Center logo seemed like a perfect match to throw on a little box of matches. So I've been using those to light candles in my house. I mean, they're matches. I mean, they're nothing fancy, but just a fun little thing that I threw the logo on. And I'm sure if you've seen my Instagram, a few people have been interested in getting some. So that's new, as well as bottle openers. I don't know why. I mean, I've done koozies before, but I'd never done bottle openers. It makes sense. Again, Charleston. I mean, well, anywhere really is a drinking town in this country. And whether you drink alcohol or not, sometimes maybe like some kombucha or something else that has, or some sodas even have those old style bottle caps that you have to pop on off. So I figured that would be a good thing to have as well. So those will be available shortly. And to see what is currently there, including hats, t-shirts, and some other stuff, go to holycitycenter.com/merch. And it's a great way to support everything I do, as well as going to patreon.com/Holy City Center. You can sign up for one of those tiers, which also supports everything I do with HCS. Thank you for listening. Another easy and free way to help me out is to like, subscribe, and rate this podcast. Whatever each platform that you're listening on allows you to do, please do so. It certainly helps out. And also just thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. Thank you to Lindsay Marie Collins of LMC Sound System for producing each and every episode of Holy City Center Radio. And thank you to Tyler Boone, whose music you hear in each and every episode as well. I will talk to you on Wednesday. I can't wait to be back on the mic. Until then, though, good night and good luck.